Alright, show control. So what we do on this computer controls what goes out on that board, right? So the software you're going to use is Display Studio. We're going to open that up. Takes a second. Alright. We have some pre-made stuff in here. We can probably take them off, like basketball and volleyball and wrestling. They probably won't be doing that in the pool. So, but we have pre-made aquatic ones. We have my Wi-Fi screen is up. Oh, that's probably why. So that's a good point too, though. All right, so to get this laptop and our Omni Sport to communicate with our rack that's downstairs, we have a little switch here, right? There's a Cat 5 port on the back of the Omni that gets plugged into this. Our laptop gets plugged into the switch, and then the switch gets plugged into our box right here. And this box goes straight downstairs to the network in our rack. So all this has to be plugged up before you can connect to the display. There's a certain order that they like to have you boot it. They like to have you boot the VIP, the DMP, and then this. So the reason for that being is it kind of just gets all the IP addresses in order. Right? Okay, so pre-made ones, you can keep these, you can delete them, whatever you want. You have aquatics, great dive, great finish, and new record, right? If we're gonna push video, you just push a green screen or video. You know, it's gonna go blank because we have no video, but if you add video, it'll go out there. If you ever need a blank to display, so you're playing the aquatics background and you want a blank to display, you click blank. Right. So these are all our pre-made buttons you have. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to create your own buttons. So, and create your own content. So what we're going to do is we're going to create this pencil up top. It's Content Studio. Go ahead and launch it. You can actually minimize out of this. I'm going to let this load. Okay, so it's always going to pop up like this. You want to go to File, or this little cube is your File button up here. You want to go to New, and you always want to click Display. If you click a display type, you're going to create a different display than what you have here, and it will never work. So you always want to click Display. Then these are all kind of sections on your board. I recommend just doing the full screen. So this lets you actually control the whole screen and do stuff. So if you want to do like a banner, you could just do just the bottom section, but your board's a little too small to kind of break them down in sections. So I always recommend doing the full screen. So we click next. Give it a second. All right. So this box right here is in proportion to your display. If you create anything and there's any kind of information outside this yellow line, you will not see it up top, right? So you have a couple ways to type. You can just double click and start typing, or you can do a text box and you can drag and drop, and then you can type. So you move your text box just by these, and you move the one you just double click by your alignment tools.
Okay.
So I prefer the text box because it gives me
more freedom,
full control of where I want it to go, right? So I can, if I want it here or up top, you know, I can control it wherever. What's very important though is to say I want this centered in the board. If I click the center, it's not going to do it. It just centers it within that green box. So if you want it centered in the board, then you actually have to drag your green box out here, right? And then it centers it in your board. So I'm not sure, what are you kind of looking for to do? Maybe some logos, school logos, or?
So for like water polo, we'll put school logos on like the home team and the away team
Right.
For swim, like we might just put our logo versus whoever we're swimming against.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Okay. So
for senior night, I'll put senior pictures up there and the kid.
right. Okay. So if you wanted to do that, what you could do is you could just type in a name. We'll just do
Kobe Bryant.
there you go, Kobe Bryant. So you'll type that here. You go to media item right here, and you would insert a picture. So I would recommend getting your photos on a flash drive, and you can just kind of, you click picture, you get your normal stuff. So you go click on your flash drive that you want, and it would work, right? The biggest thing is the resolution. So you want to get your resolution as close to 432 by 240 as possible. So, because that's your pixels. So if you get something that's like 1,000 by 2,000, it's gonna be scrunched down, and it's just not gonna look as good. And same thing if you get something too small, then we're gonna stretch it out, and it won't look as good. So the closer you can get to that, the better. It doesn't have to be exact, but just know the closer you get, the better it's gonna look. And then you would just insert your picture. So maybe there's a sample picture somewhere. Okay, this is Kobe Bryant thing. It's just a little too big. So, right. If you wanted to shrink this, drag and drop, right? And if you wanted to put senior or whoever on there, you could.
Size it for that, type it under
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Same thing if you want to do the school logos, you would just insert a media item right there that you want, right? If you wanted to add, like have different slides play, if you go over to this layout tab, you click add, these are all different layouts, right? And it just tells you how long it's gonna play. So this first one's gonna play for 10 seconds. If I wanna lengthen it, I drag it. If I wanna shorten it, I'll fix that. It's on a setting over there.
When my wife did the training, I guess the guy she did it with said he doesn't recommend anything below 8 or 10 seconds.
Yeah. So what happens is, 8 to 10 seconds. If you only have one layout, that will play 24/7. So it won't play until you tell it to stop or you play something else. So I think what mostly for you're gonna do, you would probably only have one layout for like if you want to do.
Well, for like seniors, I'll have
Oh yeah, a bunch of them.
9 this year.
Right. So yeah, you would do different layouts, 10 seconds a piece. So what you would do is you have the Kobe Bryant right on this one. If you come click this layout, it's blank. So you just double click it, it's blank. We'll type in, I don't know, let's say LeBron. Right. Then we come to this one. And then we'll just do, so I come back here, Kobe, LeBron, and Travis. The reason this one's saying that is because it's a text box, so it's showing orange, and these were just a double click.
Okay.
That's why it's showing that. Right? For any reason you want to delete it, right click, delete, right click, delete, or you can, when you're selected on, you can click delete, right? So for an insert tab, what this actually does is it's going, instead of adding one after it, it's going to insert one in between, in front of it. So you click insert. This one's going to be your messed up one. This one's the one you inserted, right?
Can you click and drag them and reorder them?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Right. If you go to the insert tab up here, there's another way to do picture or video. You can do small AVI files if you wanted to, or animations. That will support it. Just remember, pixel size, you gotta be close to that. Text box is just another cheat for it right there. You go here, it's the same thing. Media item and text box. Scrolling text, if you want scrolling text. So on scrolling text, this is the one time where it doesn't matter if it goes outside the box because it's gonna be scrolling, right? So you click your font, you click your size, if you want it bold, if you want it outlined, what color background, what font color you want. These are your basics. If you want more, you get a color wheel. You get like 48 billion different colors you can try. So if you have your schools, if you can get the PMS number of your school's logo, you can actually match it up on here too and get the same exact color. So this is what we want to say. We click next. Which direction do we want to scroll? We want to scroll left, we want to scroll right, we want to scroll up, down. Where do we want it on the board? Do we want it on the top? Do we want it on the middle? Do we want it on the bottom? Or if we want it kind of in between, we can click something in between. Right? We click next. If we click this little preview button, it's going to show us how fast it's going to scroll. I would always recommend fast. That's probably the best speed. Super fast can be a little too overwhelming sometimes. I think normal and slow are just a little too slow. And super slow is just very slow. So I would recommend probably fast is probably the best one if you were to use that. This is what you want. You click import. There it is. Right. So we're going to click delete, get rid of that. Character map. If you have someone's name that has these interesting characters on it and don't know the keyboard shortcuts, it's on here for you. Same thing, you select the font that you want it. Alright. Alright, select the font that you want. I'm going to go back here to Home tab real quick. So if you click on the fonts, and if you were to scroll all the way down, oh, sorry, not on this one, just kidding. So you can use any font that you want to, but you have to be very careful because the way our pixels align, it might not show up how it does on here because of the pixels. So you have a pretty close pixelated board, so I don't think it would be too big of a deal. So it's all user preference on your fonts, right? Same thing over here. This is your font color, whatever color you want it to be. If you were to go to format, this is where you would pick your background color. Your fills are your background colors. Okay. So you could just make whatever color you wanted to. If you click this little bottom arrow with a line on it, you get these colors and you get your more colors, and then you get your color wheel. So let's say you go find your RGB or your hex for your color, and you pick it, right? So let's go say, what's maroon?
That looks great right there.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and click this. And since I've used it once, it will actually start saving it.
Okay.
So you don't have to go back and find that same color every time. Right. Layout is how do you want it to transition onto the board? Do you want it to spin? Do you want it to fade in? Do you want it to fade out? Or do you want it to scroll? So these are all kind of things that you want. We'll go ahead and pick this one. And then if we go to view, we can actually see how it's going to look. Right, that's how it would appeared on the board. Right. So we'll click stop. So this is creating your basic content. You have any questions on this? Okay, so now I'm going to go into a little bit more tricky part. We're going to start a new one. Full screen. Okay, so now we're going to create a scoreboard for you. So you're going to have to create a scoreboard for diving, you have to create a scoreboard for aquatics, and you have to create a scoreboard for water polo. So I'm going to help do your first one on your swimming, right? Okay. So as you can see, it says swim timer AB, dive timer AB. You want to make sure you're always using A, right? So AB is if you're at a pretty big venue or you're running two all sports, like maybe you have two sides of the pool you're running at different times. Then you would work on those, but with your pool, you always want to use A, right? So go over to A. Over here, oh, sorry. You have to select what sport you want. So if you go to here, you got aquatics. I think everything's under aquatics, so we'll actually look. Yeah, so everything's under aquatics, so you don't have to worry about it. This will actually stay default for you. So if for some reason it does change and you're not seeing these, then you might want to change it back to aquatics, right? Okay. All right, so the first thing we got on here is the running time. Like I said, you can put this however you want to on the board. This is all your preference. So to get it on the board, though, you got to click it, and then you got to click it again, then drag it At the same time, drag it over. When you can actually see a little square with a plus sign, that means you grabbed it. So you let it go, and there is your running time. So we'll go ahead and put this, just for testing purposes, way up here, right? And then we're going to center it. Okay. The next thing we might want is your event title, or you can do your event number. Since you don't have too big of a board, or I don't know if you want to put how many lanes you want to put in, we'll just go ahead and for time's sake, we'll just do event number. Put in the corner, and we'll grab the heat number. That'll be your biggest frustration sometimes, is dragging and dropping. It gets irritating. So you want to make sure you can see your box so it stays on, right? Okay, so now we have our basic stuff. We have the time, we have your event and your heat. So if we scroll down here, we're going to start getting into the lanes, right? If you want to, we can do the swimmer name. So if you're going to use high tech, you'll pull in the swimmers' names, right? So we'll do swimmer name, right? Try to put it pretty close. Then I guess we can go ahead and do the lane number next. And then your place number. Finish time or split time. So it's a little too big. So what we can do is actually we can make it smaller. So everything has a 21. Make this have a 21. This is the most tedious part. But once you get it set, then you can use them all for the same ones. So, try to line them up as best as possible. Just a 21. Right, split these out just a little bit more. Okay, right, so that's the first one. So the same thing, I do these for all the lanes. If we go ahead and change it now, then we won't have to keep changing them. So let's go. Swimmer name, or you could do the school's name if you wanted to. That would be your team name.
Do I have to change that between a relay and a individual?
If you were to do a team name, or no, so if you had a relay, so let's say so for a relay, your swimmer's name would be the team.
Okay.
Yep, so.
I deal with this every morning, and y'all still find it. I have. We can do a tryout. Really, we can do a tryout. This year, I've got like girl divers, and I can only have 4 more species. But you're a freshman, right? The other girls are, I've got a senior, I've got a junior. Okay, so we can work this year, and then we may not dive more school districts. Probably not. Okay. Do you have a physical already? Training. Come on Thursday. Okay, we'll do a tryout. Thank you. You're welcome.
One more lane. You have
So I got a question on, I guess, the split times and the running time.
Yep.
Does the split time show the split time after 5 or 10 seconds, resort back and start doing running time again?
So this will always be the running time.
Correct.
When they hit a split, it'll show the split for I think it's 5-10 seconds, and then it's gonna blank, and then it's gonna come back. When they finish it, they'll show their finish score. Then it'll stay there until you start the next race.
I didn't know if it blanked or went back to running.
Yeah, it'll either stay at the split time or it will blank and then go back. So it just depends. But your running time will stay running up top. Okay, so it's not perfect, but it's close. So you created this. We're gonna go ahead and save this. So you click your little box up there. I like to save it, save as. I like to save it under aquatics too, so it's up to you though. You can create your own folder if you want. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put swimming scoreboard, right? Let's see. Alright, before I create buttons, I want to kind of show you where you would find the water polo and